Welcome, Justin, to our book club first one for 2022. It has taken a while to get to it, but I blame COVID. Um, Peel Me a Lotus by, and I went down a rabbit hole today to decide that I will call her Charmian Clift because I thought she would be Charmian, kind of like Charmaine, but upon researching several rabbit holes, her husband said Charmian. So
Wow, I kept
he's right.
reading it. I'm not even dyslexic. I kept reading it as Chairman Clift, and I don't know why.
I didn't
But
even think of
I mean, the
that.
letters are all there. But
Yes, I was making it Charmaine, the same kind of problem,
and then I
but
thought,
we,
no,
we
no, it's
moved the I
Charmaine,
to
and
different
no,
font.
it's not. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So
it's
anyway, Charmian Clift, I believe.
Charmian. Yeah,
Peel me a lotus. I know it's a charming name when you think of it like that.
yeah,
So,
yes,
peel me a lotus. So, just to kick off, and I didn't answer your message earlier deliberately because I wanted to have this discussion here. So it's set in beautiful Greece, and
that's
I
correct.
learnt you have not yet been to Greece, Justin.
No, no, I'm ashamed.
Ashamed. You had a good reason for not going. It's too mainstream.
It's a very common problem I have. I've been to far-flung corners of the planet,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then Greece, no, Japan, no, and there's probably quite a few other places. Canada, no, you know, all these
Oh, oh,
all
I
these
didn't think I.
places that
Yeah.
most people go to first. I've kind of, for some reason, not.
You will get there eventually. Don't
Oh, I will.
worry. And I said I've only been to Greece once when I was 9, but I must say it was on that 6 month trip, camper vanning trip. It was probably the place I enjoyed the most, and my whole family really loved it. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because it was like there was some parallels to Australia, like it was finally
Oh,
a bit more like home in some ways. And the people are amazing, and everyone would say, "Do you know my cousin in Melbourne?" And I'm like, "No," but it was a
yeah.
charming place. It
There's a
was
lot of
absolutely
yes, a lot of Greek relatives in Melbourne.
yeah.
I think there was a joke about the second largest Greek city in the world is Melbourne. So
It might
after,
not even be a joke.
and it may not be a joke, no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, no, certainly I will. Got to get there. I love all sorts of things like Greek mythology and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm,
lots
mm,
of
mm.
history, which ticks boxes for me. So
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I was going to tell you, and I will briefly just tell my story. I don't know if I've told this on the podcast. I nearly went there for the 2004 Olympics to volunteer,
yes,
but the job that we were offered was when I was living in Bratislava. The job that we were offered was to work in a remote car park, helping people park. Like not even at a stadium. It was like a car
uh,
park there where they would then be bussed to the stadium. So there was no chance we would see any Olympic action like by chance.
yeah,
And but we were still thinking of going at this stage because still thought, Athens Olympics, how amazing. But then the only accommodation we could get was people were offering spots in tents on the roof of buildings,
right,
and and it was I can't remember now the cost, but it was something absolutely exorbitant, like I don't know, $150 or $200 a night for a place in a tent on a roof. And we were working in Bratislava at the time, so earning Slovak crowns. Not we were not super well off, and we thought this
yeah,
is going to cost us so much money, and we're going to be sleeping in a tent on a roof and standing all day in a car park. We're not quite sure this is
yeah.
our Olympic experience. So, and then we got jobs in Germany and went there instead. So that was the time I nearly went to Greece, but so there you go. Now let's move on to our lovely book, Peel Me a Lotus. Justin, your overall thoughts?
Look, I thought it did a really good job of being a kind of like a snapshot. It was really a year in her life as they moved to this Greek island, and yeah, there was lots in it that kind of felt like, yeah, this is quintessentially Greek, but there was also a lot of the trying to escape, lots of escapism in there from the hustle and bustle of the world that they didn't want to be part of, and even then, and then so many characters
Mm.
in the book, and it was just um, yeah, it just did a really good job of capturing, I think, all of that, and there was a lot to try and capture because there's just so many people on the island. I mean, I think some people might have only turned up twice in the entire book, once or twice, and others I'm like, thinking, oh, what were they again? Who were
Yeah,
they
who are
again?
you again? Yes, I
Yeah,
sometimes lost track of who was who.
so I did lose track a little bit,
Yeah.
but then the main ones were fairly familiar, and of course it was really about the family themselves, her family. So yeah, I think it captured that aspect of it, like Greece in the 60s?
The 60s, early 60s.
So, and some of it would have had a completely different image of what that might have been like, but this book kind of probably set that straight, and just what it was really like, because Greece wasn't, or at least this island wasn't necessarily a well-developed with lots of good infrastructure type place. So
no, like a lot of basic infrastructure.
it was very away from the developed world that you would expect. So
yeah, exactly. Semi-camping in some of their homes by the sounds of it. But it's kind of like, I really loved that the summer vibe of it. It seems very romantic to live on a Greek island, and in summer I think that works. It's kind of like when you're out, camping through summer, and you don't have all the facilities, but it doesn't matter. You're down at the beach every day, like they described.
They were doing, and I tried to discover where that the beach was, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did some Google mapping and I couldn't find it. So, but she probably didn't really put a great description in the book where it was. So, and it may have been developed into a resort or something now. So, it may not even be the same. So,
do you know what? When I went to Greece when I was 9, we started off. We took the ferry from Brindisi in Italy across to, excuse my Greek pronunciation, Igoumenitsa, in the sort of northwest.
Better than mine.
And well, I don't know if it's correct or not, but anyway, we were camping with this lovely older couple we met from England, and then we went down and spent quite a few weeks in Greece, so down to Crete, and we really loved it. So, and then by the time we got back up, we went to, because we loved this place, this Igoumenitsa, and thought it was amazing, and so we went there on our way back, and it had already been flattened, ready to be developed, and we're like, no, so this can happen. Even back that was in 85, and I feel like I could never go back there again, because it was already too sad. But I actually, while we're talking summer, I wanted to pick out that quote that I liked, because I just thought it was so summery. And I guess it was, this is when they were regularly going to that beach. Sprawled inert under the great warm melting waves of light, I was glad that we had chosen to live in the sun. To live in the sun is reassuring. All is open, all revealed. Here are no deceptions, but the bare truth of things. I thought that was lovely.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether she was alluding to the French guy who walked around in, what was it?
Maybe.
Of a G-string, though.
That whole bare truth.
When she's saying all is open and all revealed.
Yes, perhaps. In my mind, I'm thinking it's very philosophical, but you might be right.
There were lots of paragraphs where I'm not really 100% sure what she was really directly meaning, and that's fine.
Double meanings, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Whether she wrote them deliberately that way or not, because I like to think that back then they were probably a lot less prudish, yes, but I'm not necessarily convinced of that, because these were probably the kind of people that were a bit more open about all sorts of things.
Yes, this kind of bunch of expat creatives were probably more likely to be, very open about things. So, yes. So let's dive down that expat, and I think I had some examples. I'm trying to remember what you had written down here too. But I know from my experiences living the expat life, it rung very true that you gather the group of expats around you, regardless of whether you actually like them even. It's just it's kind of your instant friendship group when you first move to a foreign place, because that's who you can talk to. Yeah,
I'd imagine that's the case. I've occasionally been confused for an expat in numerous places around Asia, because I was, you just be around and someone just thinks, well, why are you in this town? You must be an expat, because the tourists wouldn't be here.
yes, exactly. Yeah. That's a good sign. It means you're going to some interesting places.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Or you
Yeah.
stumble into a bar thinking, or a restaurant thinking, oh, this place looks nice. And then you're looking around and you're going, this is where all the expats are. So,
Yeah, so you never know if that's a good or a bad thing.
yeah.
But they did also make a bunch of local connections, didn't they?
Yeah, yes. And I think, I mean, look, based on how the locals were treating them, I mean, I'm not sure if the what's his name, Creon, who I think was he like the mayor or something.
I feel like he was self-appointed in whatever.
Self-appointed mayor,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I
and
can't
the
remember
sort of
his
the
name,
local,
but
because he spoke English as well, so he
yeah.
sort things out and kind of. I'm not sure if he took them for a ride to the house because they had all these. They had a shower, which was a novelty on the island, and things like this.
Yes,
But,
all these extra costs
yeah,
after they'd bought
but
the house.
otherwise, he seemed like a perfectly decent person. And then all the ladies on the island and stuff like that would just pop in and yeah, I mean, and
Yeah,
I'm
so
not even 100% sure because sometimes you're reading a character and it was like what was the three Swedes, because I completely forgot the three Swedes. And I mean, I went back and found the paragraph and the Swedes' names were something like Rolf, Golf, and Tolf, which probably wasn't really the name, but it does sound Swedish enough.
Yeah, it's got a
And
bit
yet
of a
she
twang.
named them, the whole book, rest of the book, she named them much harder names, Pepsin, Strepsin, and Amylopsin, after the pancreatic juices. And the whole time through the book, I'm reading, I'm going, they kind of sound a little Greek in a way, those names, and completely forgot that they were Swedish because of. So, and then
They
towards the
turned
end of
up
the
at
book, I
end, didn't
kind of
they?
saw it again. And I don't want to give away kind of the book, not that it's, I guess,
Not
there's
exactly a
little bits and
spoiler,
pieces, but yeah, towards the end of the book, the Swedes are mentioned. It's mentioned again, the Swedes, and I'm going, oh, the Swedes.
Oh, they were Swedes.
And then it was the names again. I'm going, oh yeah. So,
There's lots of those things in the book, and they're
yeah,
kind of they're both a bit humorous and a bit quirky,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's kind of like it's a book that you feel like you're really just immersed in, and um, you
Yeah.
just accept it all, and it's just
I
kind of
mean,
lovely.
she kind of, there wasn't really, it was more because there wasn't really a plot in the book, and she kind of wrapped it up quite well at the end of the year. And it was really more sort of a commentary on life on this island and all these people escaping, the world, society, all the, because it was mostly artists and then locals who wanted that sort of quiet life and didn't mind these artists around because they weren't annoying them. But then the thing that unified them all was all the summer crowds, and nobody, the expats and the locals were like, had enough of these summer crowds, but they needed their money. So
yes. And then of course the filmmakers come along, and
yes.
it's chaos, but there's money coming in.
Yes, I was so excited about these filmmakers, and I'm not sure they really quite got what they were hoping for there.
No. I think it was there was no. I got the impression there was no long-lasting benefit of the filmmakers being in town. But but it would have been exciting at the time, at least. So
yeah.
So yes, it was just like you said. I think a snapshot in the year of their life, but it was a year that had, apart from living somewhere new and novel, had quite a lot of events in it anyway. Of course, because they had their third child.
Yes.
There, which was an interesting
Yeah.
event in itself.
Yeah. Well, even as soon as that child was born, I think the book took a completely different turn. It was like the baby became quite more prominent, and beforehand there was just beforehand the first few chapters, she was just every now and then would relate to feeling pregnant and not being able to do something, but it was barely mentioned. And along came the chapter where she's given birth, and then the baby, and then the baby got a lot of attention as well.
Oh, I love that bit. As a mother, remembering what it was like when my baby screamed. My baby who's just turned 12, so it's a while ago, and yet I still remember it like it was yesterday, because he was a really bad sleeper and a big screamer. And when I read this book and thought of how she would be feeling, basically whenever the baby cried, neighbours would appear to stop it crying. And she wanted to
just tell her the baby's crying.
Or just like I have ears, I can tell. But it's funny because when I was when my son was a baby, we had some neighbours who were not from Australia, and they just moved here, and I think they had a different approach to child rearing. And we didn't know them very well, but when we would meet like outside on the street or whatever, they would say, "Is your baby okay? It's a lot of crying," and I'm like, so then I would feel extra self-conscious about it. And I'm like, he's fine. He just cries a lot. It's just, some babies do kind of thing. But, our daughter never cried, never. Oh, God. So I've really, really felt for Charmian.
The baby's fine. I maybe not.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yes, they didn't show much concern for me. So
No,
I
no.
like the Greek approach after she'd given birth, when the midwife, who I'm glad
Oh,
she
yes.
was there, the midwife just plied her with ouzo
Yes.
until, and
I
basically,
don't like ouzo, but she probably didn't either, but she seemed to enjoy it after she just literally given birth. So
I feel like that is the only time in my life I would accept ouzo, because I don't like the taste at all.
no.
But I reckon at that moment that would be
At
probably the
that exact
time.
moment, it's like
Yeah,
probably the perfect thing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I think that would have made all the difference to me. So yeah, dear. Um, Now I've gone back and forth all over the place, but let
Yeah,
me.
we have. But that's all right.
In my head, I was so organised about this chat, but the cultural differences thing, that was something that I wanted to um, oh yeah, so we've kind of touched on these already, but for example, when they first bought their house
Oh,
or
yeah.
moved in, and like everyone is just there,
Yeah.
like, can you imagine that happening here?
Everyone just pops in, even when things aren't even. And then, because of course they were doing, our old mate Creon was doing some renovations and all of that stuff and explaining. And then everyone's like, just kind of pops in all the time. It was like,
Right.
I'm trying to visualize what this place actually kind of looked like, because even the baby at one stage was upstairs. So there must have been, and there was a big cistern of water, which I think was perhaps under the house, and it's on the side of a hill kind of thing. That's and obviously they had a kitchen and bedrooms, but I don't get much more of an image because she didn't really go into a lot of detail, but they also didn't have a lot either. So
No, exactly. So actually, I was just looking at on YouTube today, and I found a video tour of the house.
oh,
But it, do-
it's obviously been done up since then.
exactly, yeah, that's right. Like, it just looks much nicer than I'm sure it was
Yeah,
in the early 60s. And so, although I could kind of relate to some parts of the book, it
yeah,
really did seem much fancier
yeah.
than it would have been, like, 40,
Well,
50 years ago.
I
So
mean, I think there was a thing about how they didn't have sewerage. So
yes, exactly. Yeah,
I
yes.
don't know. I
That's
don't
right,
know.
because they had to dig somewhere, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
weren't sure whether that was just going to end up in the actual water and stuff,
yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, so, and obviously they had were relied on rainwater, which in itself probably isn't that unusual, because I know growing up, I used to go to my grandparents' house on the coast, and that was all rainwater, and it probably still is all rainwater because, and a lot of Australians, for example, have built-in septic tanks in their backyards, and they're out of the cities, so it's not an uncommon thing. But yeah, it was just it was just very you kind of put you in that top era of what it was like on a Greek island. It wasn't probably the luxurious escape that many people would associate with it now.
No, I think that's exactly right, exactly. And I think like those places are a little bit distant. It's hard to
Yeah,
get equipment. It's hard to and then it's hard because they're on these little
yeah,
steep slopes and everything. So all of the infrastructure provision is a bit harder, I imagine. I
yeah,
say with my zero qualifications, but that's how I imagine it. That it's
yeah,
just difficult. So.
yeah,
And you can
yeah,
get by without a lot of those things, as it turns out, or with
yeah,
other versions. So yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. But yeah.
I mean, I did write down it only cost them, I
Oh
think it was
yes.
630 Australian pounds. And of course, we don't use pounds anymore, so I don't know what that was worth. I think it was about $1,000 US. I think they put a US price in.
Mm,
So,
I think you're right. Something
which
like that.
doesn't sound like a lot, but it was the 60s, so it might have been a fair bit. Um,
Yeah, but still, I don't think it was too much because they didn't sound like they had a lot of money.
No, no, and most of it seemed to go into that, and they had a little bit in a bank, which they had to go to the mainland to go to the bank.
Yes, they had to go on an overnight trip to be able to withdraw money.
Money, yes,
Yes, can you imagine?
yes. So yeah, so it all this kind of stuff just adds up and just makes it really authentic in what they were doing. So
Yep, absolutely right. Yes, yes. Okay, now what else did I want to grab out of your Oh, if we go back to the kind of the expat bit, that quote that you pulled out from
the first one,
from page 16, that quote.
Yeah, so
I really like that.
this was I think this is probably some kind of summarizes what the book's really about, and it's good because I think it's extremely applicable today. I don't think this has gone away, but I'll just read it. Every one of us, in his particular way, is a Protestant. I think because when I read that, I'm going, religion, but that's not what she's saying.
As in protesting, yeah.
Protestant or I would say Protestant. Yeah, is a Protestant against the rat race of modern commercialism, against the faster and faster scuttling through an endless succession of sterile days that begin without hope and end without joy. And call me crazy. Call me crazy, but that's probably my life goal.
That's not crazy at all, I don't think. I mean, just look at, just Google digital nomad for a start. Yes. That's basically, they were, in a sense, they were freelancers who could work from anywhere.
And it's become very apt. I don't know if we've got anyone listening from America at the moment, but it's become very apt because I keep reading about this thing about the Great Resignation in the US.
Yeah, that's right.
Where workers are like suddenly realizing, hey, we don't have to put up with these working conditions and go find out.
Faster and faster scuttling through the sterile days.
Which is interesting because now, as a result, I see articles about, like I saw one today, and McDonald's in a few states in the US were suddenly going to pay $15 an hour, which is quite a lot by my understanding, especially given what some of their minimum wages are, like down around 10. So
yeah, that's right. Wow, interesting.
9 or something. So
and McDonald's is having to pay this because they can't get staff, or
people are. I think quite a few places are, or people are wanting this remote nomad type lifestyle as well. So and they'll accept less money to do that if they can have that. So
because they've learned that the quality of life is more important.
I mean, I'm only just reading this from articles and things like that. So I always like to take things with a grain of salt because I'm well aware
in the Thoughtful Travels group and find out.
We must. I'm well aware because I get asked all the time.
Too.
I got asked a lot about certain things the Texan government said, or a senator said about Australia at one stage about being locked down during COVID and how we had no freedoms and things like that. Yeah. And of course, you go, the picture he's painting
is not what really happened.
So this is the thing; it's always hard to know, but I'm going to 100% believe the picture that was painted in this book because I liked it.
Yes. Kind of related to that, there was a quote where after they'd moved into their house and got some of their stuff had arrived from somewhere, and I wrote this quote or typed this quote out: "With books piled on every window ledge, we are rich again." Yeah. And I thought, see, and because I think at that stage they had very little in the way of furniture, but they had their books, and so they were rich again. And certainly when I lived abroad, I had many places where I lived with very little furniture because, I knew I would only be there a year or two and there's no point in, stocking up on fancy furniture. And, I relate to that. You just need your good things and then you're, then you're okay. So,
the bare essentials.
Yes, the bare essentials, which might be books. But that's okay. I am going to just pop. This is our experiment, Justin. So I'm just popping our Zoom link into the group, and I might pop it into the. Hang on, I should say join book club.
We'll see if
chat with us. I don't know if any of you who's watching will join us, but please come and talk to Justin and I because we're very nice, aren't we? We don't bite. Come
No.
and join book club.
It is BYO wine, though. You have to have your own wine. We can't supply that for you.
No. And it is so boring post-COVID. I've got water because I just need lots of water.
I don't think I've ever
Stop
drank
me from
wine
coughing.
during book club, but
Oh,
people always,
I have.
people always assume that that's what I do book club for.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. I said, no, I actually like reading books.
Yes, exactly.
Mm.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, well, I've popped the invitation in, so whoever's watching, if you want to come and join us, please do, because it's a bit of an experiment, and we'll see how that works out. Just want to make sure I've got it turned on so it goes ding dong when they arrive. I think it does. So we might have some visitors. Justin, we'll wait and see.
Well, I did find another thing that I found that I like, because there's a lot of these things that pointed out the kind of the era of the book, and this one was about when one of the ladies was saying, oh, I think it's either after the birth of a child, was saying, oh, getting a permanent wave. And I'm like going, what the hell is that? And it took me a while to click, and I've gone, and I don't know if this is Australian only, but no one in Australia called them permanent waves, but clearly they maybe did, because
very originally before we shortened
maybe.
it was,
I mean, my grandma and my mum used to just go to the hairdressers and get a perm, and that's. And I thought, well, I wonder if that's just Australian or just what's happened to it. And but yeah, I don't know if my mum still gets a perm, or my grandma for that matter, but I haven't heard them mention it.
My mum used to get her hair permed when I was a kid, teenager, and she definitely doesn't anymore. Now she's got very short cut, shorter than yours.
Yes, okay.
Yes, so no perm for her anymore.
Yes. But anyway, that was another thing that I just felt set the tone of the book. It was set that era nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. It did, didn't it? Yes, it really did bring that era to life, I thought. So, yeah. What else have we missed? Where's that? Who's coming to join us, Justin?
I don't know.
Come and join us. I've put the link in the group and in the event. So if you want to come along. There's quite a few. Well, there's at least 3 or 4 still watching. It flicks in and out. So we'll see. I don't know who they are. This is the problem. I can't tell.
Yes.
So, whoever it is.
Oh, you know what we haven't spoken about in the book, though? This is quite late. I forget the couple, but Mrs. Nip. Do you remember?
Oh, yes. Yes, she was the mother of an
American couple. Was it American?
Were they American? I think so. Yes, they were the ones who tried to live very Greekly.
Very Greek, yes.
Yeah.
They were refusing to have anything that was slightly modern.
Yes.
Everything had to be very Greek.
Yes.
And we do have a
Philippa. Oh, hello, Philippa.
Oh, we do have a
hello. Welcome. Hello, Philippa.
I was feeling very shy about joining. I hope somebody else comes along.
I'm sure they will. Have you still got us open in another tab? I think I can hear us twice.
Somebody else comes along.
So you might need to close your Facebook in the other tab.
Yeah.
I can hear us twice.
Let me close it.
So you might need to close your Facebook in the other tab.
Yeah.
I can hear us twice.
Let me close it.
Oh, that's better?
That's better.
Perfect.
Oh, no, I'm only
welcome.
And no need to be shy, because there's now 3 of us.
Yay! Congratulations. I'm excited to see you. So where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Scotland.
Oh, beautiful.
So I'm at lunchtime here. Completely different time of the day, completely different season, completely different planet.
Quite opposite,
but yeah,
yes.
I've been fascinating to hear your comments on the book. Yeah, and I just was listening to your comments about perms, or permanents as they called them. I used to get perms. I did.
That's okay.
But not anymore.
No, I don't think they even do them.
I don't even know when they ended.
Oh,
Maybe 80s.
They were
80s, they had weird big hair.
I had them in the 80s. I moved overseas in 2000, and I think they were just kind of dying out in the late 90s.
Right.
And of course, when I came back a few years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, they're relegated now to history.
History and travel memoirs from the 60s. So yes.
Exactly. I think this must have been written in the late 50s because it was published in 1959.
Oh,
it
I
might
don't
have
know
been,
why.
yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Now I've got myself bamboozled because I was looking. So I was down so many rabbit holes today. But you're right. It actually says right on the back, 1954
Well,
was.
there you go. Even
Oh,
earlier
right.
than I thought.
Yeah, so it's mid 50s actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
which is,
thank you for
yeah.
pointing that out. Whoops.
Well, it's just because 1959 was a particularly good year, she says.
Ah.
So that's why it's stuck in my mind.
No, you're quite right. Now, have you spent time in Greece? You're a lot closer to Greece than we are. So,
I've been to Greece, but only on holiday. I do like it. I do enjoy it. And the last time I went on holiday, which was about, 30 years ago or something, I did do my best to learn a bit of Greek before I went. And that was hilarious because I could only ever converse in what I'd learned. So as soon as somebody asked me another question, I was completely lost.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so my memories of Greece are a very, very long time ago. Maybe the
Same.
80s was oh God, that's such a long time ago.
That might be when
That's
you
when I
were
was
there,
there.
Amanda.
I was there in the 1985. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So closer to when this was written than to now, in fact.
Slightly closer. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But interestingly, when you were talking earlier on about going to the places where other people go first, I'm in a very similar position. I've never been to the US. I've never been to Canada. So, but then I've been to places like Timor-Leste and you know, lived in Myanmar, lived in
Which ironically, I was looking at flights to today, but it's another story.
right. Yeah.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I love hearing tales of Greece, but I'm not in a hurry to go back. It's not. I feel it's. I don't know. Although I don't know if either of you remember some months back, I had oh gosh, what's her surname? I'm going to forget. But Kate on the podcast who told the story about going back to sea. To try and find what had happened to the man her father and mother had met many decades ago.
Or something. The chapel, the little chapel.
Yes, and it was such a delightful story. And she had spent, I think, maybe a year or so in Greece. I can't remember what she was doing there, but some time in Greece, and that kind of made me think, oh, it is an intriguing place, isn't it? If you kind of get off the beaten track.
I think you're right though about returning to a place. I think it's always you have an expectation that it will be similar to what it was when you were there, and I've always got mixed feelings about returning to a place. I think I would like to go back again, although with COVID, who knows anything. We're in mayhem again as always.
Yes, yes, we've got our own mayhem.
And I mean, Greece is one of those countries which kind of has a kind of what I would call two different kind of tourism aspects. You get the people going for the history and all that stuff, and then you get the people who are going for the islands, for the beach holiday and
the
stuff
partying.
like that. And like, sure, they overlap a little bit, but I know people have been, and I mean, I know someone who went to. I went to Cuba a few years ago. I know someone who'd been to Cuba, and I started asking questions. And it turned out they went to a resort in Cuba, which is fine, but it was
not really Cuba.
They went for if you're escaping the cold winter of the Northern Hemisphere and you're going to Cuba or Greece for a summer, for a break on the beach, it's a bit different
it's a very different experience.
It's a very different type of holiday. And so because Greece has kind of got that going,
yes, it's a bit. It strikes me that some of the tourism there is like going to Bali from Australia. So, people just going to.
And it's not that there's not a lot there. Like I've heard on a lot of these islands, there's always fascinating sites to go and see because the culture's been there for thousands of years.
Ancient,
it's a place I have to go to. I just haven't been. So it's probably due to the distance from Australia. It's very hard to see everywhere in Europe from Australia.
True.
Philippa, so you've had a lot of expat experience. Did you relate to the expatness in Pure Me a Lotus, or was it very different?
Well, there were bits of it that I related to, but there were bits of it that it reminded me actually of it had a kind of Hemingway feel about it. You know, this group of completely out of the place, bohemian, quite privileged in many ways, folk who'd got many more options than other folks have, who were kind of nomads, not, you know, the equivalent of digital nomads of their time, but actually they were and they weren't. They were kind of escaping, as you said at the very beginning, I think, Justin, and looking for this place where they could do their creative thing and connect with other creatives. So it was very, very different from that kind of experience that I had. But having been married for 15 years into a Nepali Indian family, some of those experiences did chime, you know, the experiences of very different expectations. You know, if you're in a home, all of your privacy settings have to be left at the door. And who does what, kind of, you know, who has the power and the responsibility and the authority in a community is very interesting as well. Because when you were asking about Creon, I had a quick look back as well. So that at a sneaky disadvantage, he was a notary public, or a public notary. So, you know, which has a bit of authority to it, you know, but he'd obviously then
but not really. He'd kind of assumed more. And you know, public authority and influence and all the rest of it because of that kind of that situation. So it was similar, especially in the in many of the hill communities. So I think some experiences were very, 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 very different, although I was very much part of creative groups in the places that I lived as well, but not in the way that you were earning your living from it, and that wasn't your day-to-day grind. But I also found that, what's the quote, the past is a different country, and the language in this, I've only got about halfway through, so I've, you know, confession, but the language in it was really, you know, sometimes you read it and you think, oh, you can't say that. You know, that's exactly what Justin said in your notes. Yeah, exactly. Yes, it was definitely from another era.
I mean, I lost track of the number of times the word queer was used to being something unusual or strange. And there's nothing wrong with using the word queer now. It's just that it's got a completely different meaning.
It's got a different meaning, And gay was used a lot as well,
So, and gay was in there as well. And I mean, I've got an auntie whose first name is Gay, and I don't know, so that's kind of a different thing. I don't know if people would use that as a first name anymore. So either, but it was a very common name as well at one stage. So, but
you picked out an example of that, Justin, describing someone as a slant-eyed, dark-skinned girl.
Oh yes, and that was like wouldn't
can't do that now.
No, and
shouldn't.
But I always it's. I guess it's just sort of. I don't know. It's you're right. You just can't.
A different era. Yeah.
It's a different era.
54. That is considered. That's a really
that was probably a polite way of describing them in the 50s as well. So because she was talking about I think it was the sailors or something being seduced by the women. I think that's where she was getting at. And from memory on that chapter, but there were a lot of little stuff like that, and even when all the people came to town and just describing the various people who come to town, especially in the summer and when the movies are on and things like that. So but it's you can live with that. It's not, I don't think it's necessarily offensive how she wrote it. It's just that it just shows how the language has changed over the time
and how quickly it evolves as well. Because really it's not that long in terms of language development. But it was very, very dated in the sense, and some of the language was just fascinating how much it had changed and how much other meanings have been incorporated. And interestingly, when I returned after nearly 20 years living overseas, I found that a lot of language, even although I came back to Scotland every year, you don't get much below the surface when you're back, and you're so busy whizzing around, seeing people and doing the things you have to do. You don't have that time to absorb what's different. And when you're back permanently, you actually just realize how much has changed and how different conversations and discussions have changed as well. And I think this is very much a snapshot of, you know, those kind of mid-50s. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
does
that's
it
interesting. Yeah,
really
that
well,
you'd
I
say
think.
after 20 years away that you would see that language difference.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I guess if you think about it in terms of like what kids say now and what
I was
I
just
would have said
thinking
as
what
or a
things
teen.
I say that my son just
And
cringes
so the
at.
words,
So,
the language of especially
that
teens and that
generation.
evolves even quicker, and
Yeah.
even
And
on a
we-
generation basis. So,
that's true.
and
Yeah.
and it's funny how that's probably where a lot of the driver comes from, and then it kind of gets accepted a bit more into society as a whole, some of the words, and then
And the teens and kids grow older, and that becomes the lingo.
And globalization, of course, as well, because young people are communicating much, much more widely than they were when I was a teenager and when my kids were teenagers, and now that my grandchildren are in their 20s. So yeah, they've just got connections with people on a much, much wider scale.
Yeah, that's so true. The influence of media from everywhere, and the actual one-to-one interaction and stuff. Yeah, it's yes, it's quite amazing. And all of that stuff makes like this kind of era feels so nostalgically lovely in a way as well, I think, because you can't recreate that stuff these days. Like, you can't go there and have to go to the next island or the mainland to get money, you know? That doesn't happen anymore. Everything would be electronically done. You know, all of those, I mean, I'm sure it was very inconvenient, that particular thing, but the kind of the thrill of that semi-isolation kind of thing, it's just not the same.
Although there are still corners where the electronic systems aren't up and running. I mean, until very recently in Myanmar, I remember going home from work one night and I was in great excitement because of the fact they were installing an ATM at the bottom of the building. And I was like, wow, look at that. And the workmen who were installing it, I was asking them, what's this? And they said, oh, it's going to be a machine. You'll be able to get real money out of it. And I'm like, whoa, when will it work? And they said, oh, maybe 6 months' time. But even when it did work to begin with, there would be nobody standing at the ATM, but people would still be walking out of the bank with a rice sack full of currency on their shoulder. So there are still these
places where this
echoes of where the systems haven't, for whatever reason, haven't been fully established. It's different in Myanmar now, even, you know, several years from when I've moved away, but there are still places where you can't necessarily go to an ATM, or you can't use your card and things.
That's kind of awesome.
I think lots of things have changed, but it's just I think there's definitely this little there's certainly people out there who try to find these places that are less along that kind of modernization with the digital world kind of thing, but you know, it's one of those things that it's going to happen everywhere, and everyone deserves to have those benefits of it as well.
Absolutely.
Maybe
Outback Australia will have mobile phone reception.
Well, there are places in Japan, I understand, where you actually pay to go to places where you have no internet.
Really? I'm not surprised.
That sounds very Japanese.
But when I was living in Myanmar, I used to go to this place in Laos, and I've mentioned it before in the group, where there was no internet access. There was no Wi-Fi, no internet. I had a SIM card on one occasion, so I could just get the little corners sometimes of my email, but it took so long, I didn't bother, and I loved it. I loved being completely out of that kind of
it is nice to have
that treadmill that they talk
you just
about
can't here. It is quite
it's surprisingly not that difficult in Australia to get.
I was just gonna say,
because we're so big,
and our telecommunications networks are not great. Even
Yeah.
when I was up in Broome a couple of weeks ago, the
Yeah.
internet was so bad that I gave up on doing nearly anything.
Yeah, and we're
I
such
was there
we're
for a
such a
week, I
big
said, "Look,
country. We
sorry, I really
really
can't." So yeah,
You can't have reach everywhere.
no. You
No.
really once you get kind of away from where the population is on the coast, out and on some roads, it just goes away. So you don't have
That was like Mongolia when I lived there, and I remember staying in one place when I was visiting one of the remote communities, and they were very excited to say, if you want to use your mobile, you can use it, but you have to go and stand on that stone over there.
Yeah.
So there was one place where that if you stood on that stone, you were slightly elevated, and similarly we were all walking somewhere down in the Gobi at one point, and there are these ovos, these little shrines, and you walk around them because it's auspicious. And when we walked up, all of us in the group, our pockets started pinging because up there you were high enough, and everybody started getting their messages.
All their messages are pinging in. Yeah, that's funny, isn't it?
Actually,
Diversion from the Greek island. Sorry.
Yes. But still only remotely.
I was just going to say, Amanda, the last point you've written down on our notes about the pecking order of expats, that's another one I don't think we touched on. That's
yes.
it'd be
The
good
longer stayers get annoyed by the shorter term blow.
Yeah, and I've noticed that. I've never been an expat, but I have noticed that there's always a kind of I don't know, an order about
pecking order.
Pecking order.
Snobbery about it, yeah.
Snobbery, exactly.
Yeah. When I lived in Kathmandu, it was who are you? Where do you work? And how long have you been here? That was.
Yeah. Same when I worked in Japan, it would be like there'd be people who'd been there for years and were married to a Japanese, so they were really integrated, and then there'd be people who'd been there a couple of years and spoke a bit of the language, and then there'd be the blow-ins who were and only stayed 6 months and never bothered to speak Japanese. And and snobbery is, I'm afraid, exactly the right word. And I was guilty of it, but
and this was
I was in the middle of that pecking order.
And this is something I found on Norfolk Island last year, that there's a pecking order, and the pecking order goes from people who were direct descendants of the bounty, then people who were actually born on the island but not direct descendants of the bounty, then people who'd lived, and then it kind of went in terms of how long you'd lived there, and then it was kind of everyone else. So, but yeah, there was a definite boundary line. If you were not a direct descendant of the bounty, yet were still born on the island, you were not seen as being the same as someone who was a direct descendant of a bounty mutineer.
How funny.
So,
there's
and
a pecking order everywhere.
And that was just the locals. It wasn't even expats. I mean, expats were probably so far down, and I knew police officers who'd been tourists. There. Yeah, exactly. Actually, tourists might have been above them.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I find it's also like a Venn diagram, which is where you had circles of particular kinds of people, and they would where that met. So you'd have like for example, the diplomatic corps, who were fairly compact, but they would connect a little bit with perhaps the teachers, who would connect a little bit, and then you'd the INGO folks, and then you'd volunteers, and the creatives, and there was always that bit where your circles would overlap. But there were some people who I remember asking somebody once, so how long have you been here? And we've been at exactly the same time. It was like, how come we've never connected? And actually, because those circles hadn't actually met. So it was that was definitely got the hierarchy, but then I found there was also this kind of like shifting Venn diagram as well of the circles, of the different circles that you were in.
That absolutely makes sense.
And I thought that this was very much a very, very distinct circle of the particular group of people, the Hemingways. I
think that's a good summary of it.
And there could have very well been a group of expats on the island that were never even mentioned because
they were there for other reasons.
Because this collection all met in that bar in the back of the general store or whatever it was. It wasn't really a bar.
Yeah, exactly. And they all had some kind of creative profession that tied them together.
And I think even some of the descriptions, I think some of the people were just kind of outliers on that group
Yeah,
based on
yeah.
like the American couple whose mother came. They were kind of in, but not in that group,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so
exactly.
On the
They
edge
were,
of
yes,
and their own Venn
connected because they were
diagram.
writing, but not really.
yes, living
not
Greekly and all that
integrated
kind
and
of, yeah.
with that.
And the French guy, who I'm not really sure what he was doing, but
I don't know either what he was doing.
but he always was mentioned about, didn't seem to be wearing a lot of clothing most of the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
it seemed to be when he
It
got a
was
mention.
funny.
He turned up at a moment inappropriately dressed was pretty much
Yes,
his
that seemed to be his big
role.
part. Yep, exactly. Well, anyway, on the whole, I enjoyed this. So that would be, I
Look, she hasn't written a lot of travel books, and she's not going to. So certainly,
no, I do want to read her other one though, Mermaid Singing,
Mm.
which is the companion. It says on the back,
Yeah.
the companion.
That's the one before this one, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so. Yes. So it would be. I'd be interested to read that.
Yeah.
Actually, and my rabbit hole sent me down to her husband's books as well this afternoon. I ordered them from the library, so I'll report back, but not travel memoirs. But
and I'm assuming the island is not pronounced Hydra, which is how I would pronounce it.
no, that's exactly what I
Probably something Idra or something. Or
I researched that.
Ithra.
Ithra. More like Ithra. Yeah. So yes, because I absolutely would have. I read it saying Hydra to myself, and then I thought, better check on this before we meet. And no, nothing like it. So.
Nothing like it. So there you go.
Anyway, let's move on to next month's book.
Yes, I do have my copy here ready.
Which is Raynor Wins the Wild Silence. Have you read this, Philippa?
I haven't. I read the first one, which you
Salt
had
Path?
a couple of years ago, or sometime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. It might have even been a couple of years ago.
It was our first. I think it was the first year it was in the. This is like the third year we've been doing.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yeah, so it probably was a couple. Gosh, goodness me.
I know.
It was a couple of years ago. How does this? Yeah, exactly. So this
COVID.
is. Yes, that's true. COVID is warping time. This is a sequel to the Salt Path, and although not all of it is travel, enough of it is, and it's so lovely that when we did the Salt Path, that was a very popular book club book. So I wanted to read this as well. So I've actually listened to it on the audiobook, and Raynor Wynn reads it, and her accent is beautiful. So I loved listening to it, but I haven't read it physically. So that's what I'm going to do for our next chat. So I'm looking forward to that. Because
is it? Yeah. Okay. I'll have to listen. I'm trying to picture what her accent would be like, but there's so many.
Could not.
No, that's all right.
Any justice. So she just has a very particular lilting kind of very.
Philippa would probably know exactly where it comes from in that part.
I'm just trying to place it.
Whether she's got a slight Welshness about it, or whether
that's kind of what I feel like, but
whether it's but it's.
I'll have to dive down a rabbit hole.
I'll have to.
Yes.
The
internet says she has a Staffordshire accent.
Oh, there you go.
Which wouldn't have meant anything to me.
No, it
but,
doesn't help.
Yeah, but
coming from a country where we really don't have accents, we all
exactly. We don't know anything really about. We don't understand accents.
We've got them all.
So. Yeah, you guys have them all.
Well, I can tell that there's that many. It's like I'll watch a British quiz show or something. They'll introduce themselves, and they'll be from all over the place, and they'll all have different accents. And then you look on a map, and they're only like 100 miles away.
It's crazy.
Or 20 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Justin and I live how many thousands of kilometers apart, and I think
it's
we
like
have the same.
4,000. I don't know.
3,000, 4,000.
4,000,
a lot.
A lot.
I don't think our accent's any different.
No, it's 4 hours flying, so yeah.
Yes.
That's easier.
Yeah, it's a long way. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Philippa, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thanks.
I'm very excited that we had our first brave book club live participant. So
yeah, I would love to. If I wasn't the only one, I was hoping and expecting there might be a few more folks. But
I was hoping that too. But now that you've shown them that we can do this, then hopefully next time we'll have a few more. And I reckon for the Wild Silence, we're going to get a lot of people reading and hopefully keen to take part. So because
It's really lovely to be part of the conversation as well, because I think typing in comments isn't the same, and it's distracting when you're in conversation. So it's as a participant, it's really nice to join that conversation.
Awesome. Well, that's what I was thinking exactly. Because when I started it, of course, pre-COVID, I think a lot of people wouldn't have even wanted to get on a video call, whereas nowadays people, don't mind at all because they're doing it all the time. So, so I thought maybe now, people will be keen to do it. So thank you very much. It was lovely to have you here. So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for the recommendation. I would never have found this book if you hadn't had it as your read, which is one of the joys of
I don't think I wouldn't have found it either. So
actually a friend of mine in the UK recommended it. She's a non-fiction writer, and she recommended it to me. She's obsessed with it. Well, she's originally Australian and now lives in the UK, so kind of has that Australian connection as well. And so I
think we're always looking for recommendations for books as well. So anyone ever have one, please recommend it.
Let us know.
Bookcase is full of books. I dragged my books from country to country.
Yes, you see, because with books piled on every window ledge, we are rich again. That was the quote. So
exactly.
That's it makes a house a home.
Yes.
Oh, definitely. And many of my books have lived in 3 continents. So.
Oh, well, your books are lucky.
I'm lucky to have my books. I love them.
Yes, well, me too. As you can see, I've got this is just a fraction of mine behind me, so I don't know what I'd do without them. Well, anyway, thank you, Justin.
No worries. Thanks, Amanda,
for your excellent co-hosting. Thank you, Philippa, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I hope next time round we'll get some extra people along as well to discuss The Wild Silence. So
I think maybe if people do actually want to join in on the chat, they should maybe, when we get around to planning, let us know so you can pick a time that may work. I don't know how hard
that's true. Yeah, no, I always
so like if we
do
get
it so that I can see who's in the right time zone, so we can,
because we know time zones are like, for me now it's nearly 10 o'clock at night, which is fine, because last night this would have been 11 because we just come off daylight savings. So but it's I guess if people really want to chat about a book, we can adjust, but no point us having it at a time when
we're the only ones awake.
When we're the only ones,
It's perfect time for me. It's lunchtime on a Sunday. It's almost 1 o'clock.
Yeah. So I thought that is a good time.
So
we get
it would be really early in America. So
yes, you'd have to be very dedicated book. Like
even West Coast in the US, they might.
Would be like 8 a.m. or
it'd be East Coast would be more likely.
Oh, hang on.
East Coast would be more likely to be awake. Yeah.
Yes, but it is an early start.
I'm not sure. My son hasn't sent me his Wordle of the day yet.
Right.
So when he wakes up, he's in New York.
Sorry, it's quite early.
And that's not at all uncommon, Philippa, to get a Wordle from someone at that time of the morning.
Nope, it's not uncommon at all. I love it. All right, well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Look forward to next time round. Happy reading.
Thank you.
No worries. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.